What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. As young men, from childhood, we might build certain bonds with individuals just going to school every day, going outside to play. You always have your circle of people you gravitate to and choose to rotate with. It starts early. Some of them relationships could bloom into real brotherhoods, but sometimes the problem is thinking you know a person so good or knowing how they move when you really don't. Rest in peace to Tupac. In the song Changes, he had a line that stated, "I wish we could go back to how we played as kids, but things change, and that's just the way it is." Meaning you could start off with no worries, growing up together or being homies, but life can take you down different paths that sometimes don't involve dealing with the same people you once vibed with. Some will link back up and try to force it until they realize, I don't even really know bro like that no more. And then it's that other side of street life. You get close to a person, y'all build a bond, you know they are a little on the cruddy side, but you feel like that energy is only directed towards other people, not me, because that's my homie. But over time, if circumstances change and your so-called homie starts to look at you as a come up, that friendship can quickly turn to betrayal. On a real life movie tip like Juice. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we will be taking it to St. Petersburg, Florida to discuss the case of a man accused of a hit on his friend and his girlfriend. Back in 2021, Jerome Clark was a 23-year-old man trying to make a better way in life. Growing up fast in the Florida streets, his father would go to prison when Jerome was only 12 years old, making him feel like he had to be the man of the house and look out for his mother and siblings. Jerome would eventually have a run-in with police as well as he got a little older. Like some young men trying to navigate in tough environments, trying to find a way out. He would be arrested for attempted burglary charges and sentenced to 2 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. But Jerome had something to motivate him to change his life for the better. A little girl who he ended up missing the first year and a half of her life due to incarceration. But once he got released, he wanted to turn his life around. He came home and got 2 jobs at 2 different restaurants to support his baby girl and to be a good father, taking her to parks, Chuck E. Cheese, making up for lost time. While working, he met a co-worker named Larissa Williams. The young lady was working at a restaurant with Jerome, and they became close friends. She was 27 years old with 3 kids of her own, 2 little boys and a little girl, and where she as well was trying to get back on her feet and get her life back on track after serving 18 months in jail. They were on the same type time and place in their lives and connected. Jerome had a homeboy so close to his family, he called him a cousin. 35-year-old Andre Watkins. Being older and also caught up in the streets, Andre had just came home from a bid himself after serving a 3-year sentence for felony battery and aggravated assault. But that wasn't his first rodeo. Andre had did a previous 11-year sentence for armed robbery and selling girl, and another 1-year sentence for battery. But Jerome had love for Andre and didn't judge him at all. He was his homie. But on February 10th, 2021, Jerome's family got a frantic knock on the door on a late night, stating Jerome had been shot. The man who broke the news to them was Andre, the person they considered family. He stated he was in a vacant lot. The car crashed into a trailer. As police were called in the early morning hours, Jerome's family got to the location as well, on the 1400 block of 34th Street South. Jerome's mother noticed it was indeed her daughter's car, in which Jerome sometimes drove. She glanced through the window to see 2 people, but couldn't tell if it was Jerome or not because of all the damage and blood on the scene. But as police secured the scene, the horrible news would hit the family. Unfortunately, it was both Jerome and Larissa. They were both suffering from multiple gunshot wounds and pronounced gone at the scene. In shock, Jerome's family was confused on what could have happened. Larissa's family were also hurt and confused as well. Detectives had no clue. Andre, the family friend, offered his condolences and comfort, even offering Jerome's mother $10 for gas money, consoling her and the family. She wondered, how did Andre even know Jerome was shot so fast, but just thought he recognized the car or was in the area and heard the shots, so she brushed it off. Andre was real helpful during the family's hard times, even stopping by daily, asking was everything okay and how the investigation was going. St. Pete police discovered it was surveillance cameras in the area that showed Jerome and Larissa pull up in a car and a man approached with a blick, instantly shooting in the car around 1 o'clock a.m. Jerome tried to drive off, but eventually crashed nearby. Detectives released a still photo of the suspect to the news. It was real grainy and no one thought they recognized the man. Jerome's mother and family would plead for answers and help from the community. But as days went by, they soon noticed Andre stopped coming around. They found it strange he was so overly invested in the case, then just disappeared. And as Jerome's family really studied the picture of the suspect, a light bulb clicked in their heads. It looked just like Andre from the clothes and build of the man. Detectives also received tips Andre was the possible shooter of his own homie and his girl, who he called the cousin. A warrant was soon put out for the man. Not long after they received the tip, he was staying at a motel called the Bayway Inn, located on 4400 34th Street South. They went to the area, but Andre had barricaded himself inside a room and would not come out. As the standoff made headlines in the news, the community and Jerome and Larissa's family and friends showed up at the motel. SWAT teams were called and the streets in all directions were blocked off. People stood outside for hours to see what would happen. Then after 4 hours of standing off with police, Andre was finally taken into custody. As family and friends clapped, feeling betrayed by a man they called family. Detectives alleged it was a drug deal gone bad that caused the couple their lives. Andre was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. As of now, the case hasn't made its way to trial, and he is innocent until proven otherwise. Rest in peace to Jerome and Larissa. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to their families. It's crazy. The two were both just coming home, trying to get their lives together, and this happened. I'm not sure if it was really a drug deal or just beef, but Andre allegedly backdoored his little homie, who he called family, and hit an innocent young woman who seemed to be just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Then hugged Jerome's mother, offered her money, and tried to check on the investigation. That's next level cruddy and snaked out. Watch who you let in your circle. It's sad to say, most hits come from inside. Someone who knows you and how you move. Everybody doesn't deserve to be called a friend. So remember, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, that's a crazy situation. Rest in peace to both of them. Y'all heard the story. I ain't gonna talk y'all head off. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Remember to be respectful. This is another episode of Hood Tales. Appreciate you if you made it to the end. This your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam.
What's up, fam? It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another video. In this episode of Hood Tales, we're taking it to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to discuss the tragic case of 2 sisters' feud that ended with one gone and the other locked up. But before we get into this video, welcome if you're new here to our channel. Please feel free to subscribe. Click that notification bell so you never miss an upload. If you're rocking with the content, hit that like button. Feel free to share this video. Everything in this video is alleged. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Kiera and Tessa Gaines were thick as thieves. The two sisters were known to always be together. They were practically inseparable. Kiera is 34 and Tessa 35. Some people thought they were twins. Although the two seemed close, Kiera and Tessa would sometimes have their sibling quarrels. They wouldn't always see eye to eye. And on April 26, 2023, things took a tragic turn for the sisters. According to neighbors, Kiera and Tessa had been living together for nearly 2 months, and they were not getting along. On April 26, Tessa arrived at a house near 45th and Hadley, where she confronted another family member, and they began arguing on the porch. Moments later, according to witnesses, Kiera allegedly opened the door and immediately used a kitchen knife on her sister, Tessa, wounding her critically in her left upper body. Tessa collapsed on the porch, and Kiera allegedly went back inside the house. When officers arrived at the scene around 4:15 p.m., they found Tessa lying on the porch, suffering from life-threatening injuries. First responders tried to keep Tessa alive, but despite life-saving measures, Tessa was pronounced gone at 4:42 p.m. At the scene, investigators recovered a black and silver 8-inch kitchen knife from the entryway of the home. Kiera was still inside the home when police arrived. After eventually exiting the home, she was arrested. Tessa's autopsy revealed that she was punctured in her left lung and heart. Her passing was ruled a homicide. Family members of the sisters were heartbroken over the incident. One of their siblings even tried to mediate the feud between them, but the sisters weren't really open to reconciling at that point. It's not clear what the sisters were beefing over. The sibling said on a social media post that Tessa texted them 10 minutes before heading over to the house where Kiera was. But they didn't respond that time because they thought there was no point, since all of their other attempts to bring peace between the both of them didn't work. They felt bad for not intervening that day, not knowing how bad things would escalate. Kiera and Tessa's mother had suffered a terrible tragedy 9 years earlier when her son and their brother, Tavion Millarms, lost his life. He was an up-and-coming rapper in Milwaukee. Now she lost both her daughters. One she will never see again, and the other will probably spend a significant amount of time behind bars if she's convicted. Tessa's father, a local bar owner, said the situation was like the Bermuda Triangle. He told a news outlet, "There's no way we should be burying our daughter, and there's no way we should have a daughter downtown." He also said you couldn't separate them on anything, nothing. That's why what took place was just so unusual. At Kiera's initial court hearing on May 1st, she wore a self-destruction prevention vest while in tears. Kiera's parents said she struggled with mental health. Her defense attorney said in court that Kiera, a mother of 2, was still suffering from postpartum depression. Her public defender said she was on her way to get mental health treatment. She was supposedly going to check herself in the day after the horrific incident. The state asked for a $50,000 cash bail, but the defense asked for $2,500. Ultimately, the judge set the cash bond at $35,000. Kiera was charged with 1 count of second-degree reckless homicide and the use of a dangerous weapon. Prosecutors said she could be charged with first-degree intentional homicide, which would carry a life sentence. Kiera currently remains in jail. Kiera is innocent until proven guilty. Fam, this is such a sad story. Rest in peace to Tessa Gaines. My condolences to her family and loved ones. My heart truly goes out to the entire family. I can only imagine how difficult this must be. I hope that each day gets a little easier for all affected by this tragedy. I can't imagine what the sisters could have been fighting about for things to have gotten to the point when one of them allegedly took the other's life. How did they go from being inseparable to this? And to the family member who tried to be a peacemaker between the sisters, you did the absolute best you could have. You tried, and I hope you find peace with your efforts and no longer blame yourself. You can't control two grown adults. It's really just sad all around the board. And if Kiera is truly suffering with mental health illness, I hope she gets the help she needs to overcome. Fam, tell me your thoughts on this in the comments below. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times, and I'm out.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 Times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. Having a child by someone can be a beautiful thing. If you and that person are connected in a relationship or even just have a mutual understanding to co-parent and raise the baby. But that's on the brighter side of things. It all starts out good, but if the relationship goes bad, a lot of anger and resentment can come from either side, mother or father. You might have child support hearings, one parent feeling like they are a better fit, which causes custody hearings or ways to provide visitation rights to the non-custodial parent. It can be a messy process, and as the child gets older, both mother and father move on with new people. Now you have step parents adding their 2 cents to the mix, building the anger and resentment to whole new levels. And once it goes to the system, if court don't go their way or they simply don't like their child's other parent anymore for whatever reasons, but you just can't block a person out and expect them not to fight to be a part of their baby's world and be a good parent, especially if they are focused and determined. I'm talking about grown up, real parent energy, not just baby mother, baby father, one MIA, and the other raising their seed on their own. Signals can get crossed, and outside influences, including new significant others, can lead to drama. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we will be taking it to Fayetteville, Georgia, to discuss a case of a man returning his daughter to his baby mother that turned fatal. Back in 2020, military vet, new husband, and father, 38-year-old Joshua Kellen, or Josh to family and friends, was a hardworking man living in New York. His oldest child at the time, a daughter, was 10 years old, and his youngest daughter, almost 2. Josh also had a son and a wife he was almost married to for 2 years. Life was good, but there was one problem. Josh's oldest daughter lived all the way in Georgia with her mother, Don Harmon. Don had also moved on and had a husband named Jermaine Harmon. Life was also going good for the Harmons. Don was stated to be a nurse with a nice home in Fayette County, Georgia, but Don and Josh allegedly had problems co-parenting. Josh would often travel all the way from Brooklyn, New York to Georgia to attend daddy-daughter dances and school events for his daughter and was determined to fight for joint custody. After years of going back and forth, but to his favor, Josh would win the court hearing, getting his daughter for the summer. The man was said to be super happy. Now she could spend more time with her other siblings, but allegedly on Don's end, she was mad, forced to cover court costs. Josh went to pick up his daughter for the summer, and all went well. They had a good time, and the man was happy to be able to have his child for months at a time. It was now almost time for school to start back, and time for his daughter to return to her mother in Georgia. On July 31st, 2020, Josh headed down south to drop his baby girl off to her mother. The exchange went well. He took her to Don and Jermaine with her belongings. But about to return to Rhode Island, the next day on August 1st, Josh realized he made a mistake. He took his daughter's backpack and gave her one of his bags with important documents, including his social security card, his wife's, other children's, and birth certificates. Trying to get the items back, Josh tried calling Don, but no one would answer. His wife even attempted to call as well, but it was the same results. The man then reached out to local police to see if he could have them escort him to the home to grab his documents. Josh and the local sheriff went to the home, but Dawn stated she didn't have the documents and haven't seen them at all. Josh insisted she did, but it was her word against his, and he had to leave. Later that day, Josh decided he couldn't leave without his paperwork. He returned to the home to get the documents. He called before knocking on the door. Just seconds later, a shot went off, striking Josh in the chest, while his daughter and child's mother were at the home. Police were soon called to Don's and Jermaine's house on Wilkins Road in the Kenwood Acres subdivision. As they got on the scene, they noticed Josh shot and bleeding out. He was rushed to a local hospital, but unfortunately, he did not survive. The bullet pierced his heart. Police started an investigation, speaking to Don and Jermaine, in which they stated Josh was being aggressive. An altercation started between him and Jermaine shot him. It was at first deemed a case of trespassing and self-defense, as it seemed Josh made a mistake by going back to the home. But as Josh's wife and other family members gave authorities information, the situation seemed a little bit shaky. An investigation started back up. Nearly 3 months would go by as police returned to Don's and Jermaine's home and asked to check her phone for evidence. Also at the hearing, she allegedly lied to her and Josh's daughter, telling the young girl police shot her father instead of Jermaine. Things wasn't adding up. While searching her phone, it was a recorded conversation between Don and her father, which the woman was laughing, stating Josh left all his important documents and keeps calling, but I'm not giving them back. But she told Josh and sheriffs she didn't see the documents at all. The couple were charged as events came out of Don and Jermaine allegedly being the aggressors. He was charged with felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Don was hit with giving false statements and tampering with evidence. The couple's people wrote a petition alleging the county of Fayette, Georgia, seized Don's and Jermaine's home, put their 2 younger children in foster care, and illegally charged them after deeming the shooting self-defense, stating Josh was an intruder and they had the right to defend their home. But as the case made it to trial, a different version of events came out, of Josh calling his child's mother and Jermaine for the documents, no one answering, knowing they really had the paperwork, in which later at trial, Don admitted to having it and straightening it all up. It was stated that when Josh went back, Jermaine opened the door, gun in hand, punched Josh, then shot him, while the man's daughter was home. Then they lied to her, stating police did it. Eventually, they both were found guilty. Don receiving 15 years, all suspended but 5 for her charges, and Jermaine life in prison for his charges. Rest in peace to Josh. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to his family. I feel for his older daughter. That whole situation of losing both parents due to what to me seemed like a petty situation because her mother seemed bitter and gassed her husband up with hot air to hit her father. I know it's two sides to every story, but Dawn admitted she lied and shredded the paperwork, then told her daughter her father was hit by police. To me, that's cold and calculated. Co-parenting can be hard, but we gotta accept the fact, even if we don't like the other parent, if they are willing to be a part of the child's life and are not putting them in harm's way, there's nothing we can do about that, but be grown and accept that, not bitter and angry. So remember, we gotta succeed not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, that's a crazy story. Rest in peace to Josh, man. I send my prayers and condolences to his family, especially his daughter, his wife, his other kids. But yeah, y'all heard the story. Leave it in the comments. Y'all already know, be respectful. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This your boy Tony 2 times. This another episode of Hood Tales. Love, fam. I'm out. What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, I just want to first and foremost say I appreciate the fam for helping us reach 100K. It means a lot to me and Mrs. Tony 2 times to let us know y'all really feeling the content and rocking out with these cautionary tales. It helps us to keep going, keep us motivated, and it feels good to have people that'll listen to what we trying to bring to the table. So y'all already know, for the day one fam, it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. I already know y'all gonna hit that like button. If you're new to the fam, be sure to subscribe if you're feeling the content, and definitely tap that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. Helping a friend is a common thing. In certain situations, you might get a call from someone you have a close bond with and won't hesitate to come lend a helping hand. It might be simple things like pulling up to help them change a flat tire, pick them up from work if they don't have a car, just certain things friends do. Even throwing each other a couple dollars from time to time when someone doesn't have it to get by. But when it comes to getting in the mix of someone else's relationship with their significant others, things can get tricky. Every now and again, a woman might call on the help of friends to guide them or talk to them when they are in a bad situation involving a partner. Some feel like that's y'all business, and I'm not getting into all that. But others jump in head first off the love they got for their friend. That can go a lot of different ways. It can help them escape a toxic situation if they really want help, or you could put yourself in a trick bag by keep running into someone else's drama when they really just speaking out of anger and emotion and have no plans of leaving at all. And interfering can lead to tension, even though you might be trying to do the right thing, and someone could really get hurt. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we will be taking it to Orlando, Florida, to discuss a case of a woman's call for help that ended fatally for a former NBA player. Adrian Payne was born February 19th, 1991, in Dayton, Ohio. The young man developed a love for the game of basketball, and by the time he was in Jefferson High School, he was a full-blown star. Standing at 6 feet 10 inches and over 200 pounds, it was clear Adrian was built for the game. After high school, he would attend Michigan State University alongside with NBA player Draymond Green. The two men became close over the years as they led their team to the Big Ten 2 times. Adrian would soon go All-American in college with many achievements, but he was diagnosed with permanent reduced lung capacity, which affected his stamina on the court, and an ankle injury as well. But Adrian still kept pushing before finally going to the NBA in 2014, where he was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, before going to the Minnesota Timberwolves 1 year later, then to the Orlando Magic. A scandal from Adrian's freshman year in college would come up in his pro years, leaving him waived off the team. But the young star never gave up and went to play for a few years overseas, in which he traveled to multiple countries to play for over 4 years before finally heading back to the U.S. in 2022. Somewhere in the mix, Adrian ended up in a relationship with a young lady he was feeling and ended up in Florida. His newfound love had a friend who we will call Keisha. Keisha would often call Adrian's girlfriend for help and relationship advice and dealing with her at the time, 29-year-old boyfriend, Lawrence Doherty. Adrian's girlfriend told him Lawrence and Keisha often had problems and fought a lot, both verbal and physical. She would go over to help her friend out when she was in distress, which was often and on multiple occasions. And on May 9th, 2022, Keisha would call again about her relationship and that her and Lawrence were beefing. It was late at night, and this time it was a little different because Adrian was in the picture. His girlfriend suggested they go over to help and play mediator. Wanting to lend a helping hand and have a male presence, Adrian agreed. They headed to Lawrence's house, located on Agate Shores Drive near Cary Ford Road in Orlando. After Keisha made the request, they pulled up. Once there, Adrian and his girlfriend parked and waited since Lawrence wasn't home yet. This was around 1 a.m. A car pulled up at the house. It was Lawrence, his dad, and his son. His father was dropping him off. As he got out the car, he noticed a dark-colored vehicle with tinted windows parked by the house. Concerned, Lawrence approached Adrian's vehicle, in which the two started discussing the altercation he had with Keisha. At 6'8" and over 200 pounds, Lawrence saw Adrian was a big dude. As the verbal dispute got more heated, Lawrence turned around, bopped off, and entered his home. Moments later, with his son still being outside, he returned with a blick, standing in a firing stance. Adrian's girlfriend stated, "We're here to mediate. No need to pull out your gun," before a shot went off, striking Adrian. Neighbors who heard the commotion quickly called police, as Lawrence calmly walked back in his house and also called police. His father ran to Adrian's car to render aid. Soon after, Adrian's mother also was on the scene, as she could be heard begging 911 to hurry up because her son looked like he was passing away. Paramedics arrived and rushed Adrian to a local hospital, where unfortunately, at just 31 years old, the former NBA star was pronounced gone from a single shot. As an investigation started, detectives spoke to Lawrence, who claimed he saw Adrian creeping, driving through the neighborhood, pulled up, and wanted an altercation. Lawrence, only 5'8", felt intimidated, though Adrian had a blick, claiming the man reached and said, "I'll smoke you, bruh." Lawrence claimed he acted in self-defense, trying to protect his home and family, as he felt Adrian was an immediate threat, and he shouldn't be at his home that late in the first place. But Ring footage caught the whole incident, and witnesses claimed Adrian never got aggressive and never said he will shoot. Detectives viewed the footage, and they could clearly hear through audio Adrian's girlfriend could be heard stating, "We was asked to come here. Do not pull your gun," before the shot went off. Lawrence was pushing for the Florida's Stand Your Ground law, but as more information came out and the search of Adrian and his car showed no sign of a weapon, Lawrence was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. As news of Adrian's passing made headlines, family and former teammates were hurt and showed their support, including close friend Draymond Green, with people stating that was Adrian's nature and the young man was just trying to help. His girlfriend's statement was taken by police, but for reasons unknown, her name was redacted from the file, even though she told her and Adrian were there to help and did not pose any immediate threat. During the court date for his charges, Lawrence and his lawyers argued a clear case of standing your ground, but prosecutors pointed out the fact Lawrence thought about it, went in the house, got a gun, stood, took aim, and then shot, and that at that time, Adrian wasn't an immediate threat at all. Lawrence pleaded not guilty in the case, and at this time it hasn't made it all the way to trial. He is innocent until proven otherwise. Rest in peace to Adrian. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to his family. This is a tough situation. For a man to make it that far in life, for it to end over something that really didn't have anything to do with him. I'm not against helping no one, but it's an old saying, pick your battles wisely, especially if the young lady kept going back. At that point, it's a choice between two grown adults to continue a dysfunctional relationship. I'm super curious to hear y'all thoughts on this situation. So I will leave the moral of the story to the fam. Leave it in the comments, but definitely be respectful. And remember, we gotta succeed not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, crazy situation. Y'all already know. I ain't gonna say too much more about this one, because I wanna know what y'all think about this. Leave it in the comments. Like I said, I understand the severity of the situation. Definitely be respectful. At the end of the day, somebody lost their life. Another man is trying to claim self-defense. So I'm going to leave this one up to y'all. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. It's all love, fam. This is another episode of Hood Tales. This your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out. What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. Doing the right things in today's world is hard work. With so much negative influence everywhere, it's easy to slip up and fall off track. But every now and again, you will see a young man or young woman that's super focused and understands their mission in this journey we call life. The scary part of doing right is there's always somebody out here that's doing wrong. Which, like I was told, stay out their way, and if it don't apply, let it fly. Meaning as long as that energy doesn't come your way, you can't judge how a person decides to live their life. But it becomes a problem when someone on that type time takes it from robbing and hustling in the streets to targeting civilians and people who are trying to make an honest living to support their families. Honestly, that's the hardest transition to make, coming from a street mindset and turning your life around for the better. Now you feel vulnerable, like you become a target yourself because you understand what people look for, easy licks, and being at the wrong place at the wrong time when someone is looking for a come up can be fatal. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we will be taking it to Las Vegas, Nevada to discuss a case of a young father's early morning trip to a store that turned deadly. Back in 2021, 24-year-old Kashif Brown was a young man trying to navigate life. He had previously graduated from Desert Rose High School in North Las Vegas, and after that, went straight to work, eventually getting married and having 3 baby girls, who the young man lived for. His main focus was to go to work and provide for his wife and kids. On his down times, Kashif spent time with his family. He didn't play the clubs or the streets and really stepped into his role as a family man with dreams to one day work for himself and start his own business. With a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, and 3-year-old, all girls, the young father had his hands full and was on grind mode. That means long hours, early mornings, and late nights. In the early hours of March 22nd, Kashif got up to head to his landscaping job, but first he wanted to make sure he had gas for the week since it was a Monday morning. The young man left the house in his whip and headed to a Circle K gas station located in the 300 block of Valley View Boulevard, close to Meadows Lane and Alta Drive. The time was about 3:15 a.m. when Kashif pulled up to a pump, entered the store to purchase $40 in gas and a pack of gum. But little did he know, it was a man and woman in the area lurking, looking for a person to rob. As he exited the store, a Chrysler 300 slowly pulled up to the pump right next to him. A man got out the car, moving kind of sneaky. Not worried about it, Kashif kept pumping his gas when a man from the Chrysler ran over, up the blick, and demanded cash from the young man. Before seconds later, multiple shots went off, and the man ran back to the Chrysler and drove off. But Kashif was already hit. The store clerk and a few witnesses called local police who responded to the scene. Unfortunately, the young father would not survive the attack. As an investigation started, the only lead detectives had was shell casings, surveillance footage showing a Chrysler but no tag number, a grainy picture of a suspect, and a bag of grass left on the scene. As Kashif's family was notified about the situation, they were heartbroken. Police and the family decided to hold a press conference at the gas station to ask for the public's help. His mother spoke out about the young man not being in any trouble. He only went to work and came home to his family. She didn't understand how a regular working man trying to survive could be a target. A reward was offered for any information, and detectives gave a bag of grass to the lab to see if there were any DNA left on it. While waiting on the results, calls would come in from people stating they saw a man and woman in the parking lot of the store that day, sitting in the car just looking. The man was driving, and one person even stated the lady name, who we will call Ava, as she allegedly told them her and that person driving were getting high on girl that night when they decided to pull a move early that morning. A name for the man would eventually come out: 34-year-old Roderick Lee. DNA results came back from the bag of grass found on the scene that allegedly had Roger's DNA and the woman's. Eventually, Roger was tracked down and arrested. A search of his phone records showed texts between him and his girlfriend about the robbery and hit. He was charged with first-degree murder and booked into Clark County Jail, held without bail. It was later determined it was a robbery attempt gone wrong. Kashif's family spoke out to Roderick, stating he took a father and man who didn't bother anyone just for a random act and trying to get some fast cash. The woman with him that morning was never charged. As of now, the case hasn't made the trial, and Roderick is innocent until proven otherwise. Rest in peace to Kashif. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to his family, especially his 3 little girls, whose father was took for nothing. It's crazy how you could be doing everything you're supposed to do, going to work, taking care of your family, and going to get gas before work can cost you your life. Or running with somebody on that type time who is out here moving reckless. I'm confused on what he thought he was going to get from shorty. At most, a few dollars, but sadly to some, that's all life is worth. So remember, we got to succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, crazy story. Rest in peace to that young man. It's really a senseless situation, but I notice sometimes, man, when people out there and they ain't in their right state of mind, they look at somebody and think you got more than what they got, so it's worth taking that chance. But now you facing life in prison. I don't even think he got nothing from shorty. I ain't showed the video, which is crazy, but it seemed like it was a little struggle, and then shots went off, man. So, you know, people out here, you catching them off guard. It's early in the morning. That man probably ain't even had no money. He probably put his last 40 in the tank. You know how that be. You out here working, trying to survive, trying to support your family. You ain't thinking you no target. But unfortunately, some people think like that, man. Real messed up situation. But I ain't gonna talk y'all head off. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comments. Remember to definitely keep it respectful. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Y'all already know it's all love, fam. This is another episode of Hood Tales. This your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out.